So, one thing I want to address, or one thing that I used to address way back in the day when I was working several jobs, was I would have these younger colleagues, these younger female colleagues, and me, I made the decision very very early in my work career. Actually, during the very during the very first year, actually during the first month, I think it was more than that. I think it was the first day of work. I was like, I I will never engage in any sort of romantic relationship when it comes to working in the office. Already then I could see the writing on the wall, how awkward and how difficult things would be. So made the stark decision, or the strong decision, to actually keep every single interactions I had with any sort of females to a strictly professional level. No romance, none of that sort. You're in the workplace. And believe me, over the years, I saw plenty of people doing the inverse. I saw plenty of older colleagues hitting on younger women. I saw plenty of older colleagues, or I listened to plenty of older colleagues, uh, d- sort of like demeaning and degrading their younger female peers, making fun of them, speaking, gossiping, speaking ill of them behind their backs, and all that kind of stuff. And I just knew I just made the complete transparent decision, actually, because I was speaking to several of my male colleagues as well, that no, none of this in the workplace. If I want to find a girlfriend, that's going to be outside of work, outside of work hours. I'm not going to engage in any sort of, excuse me, in any sort like that, or in any such affairs. Anyway, here's the point. I had plenty of these younger female colleagues that I was working together with. And I used to work in a very, very male dominated space, blue collar construction workspace, lots of men, very few women, whatever. You know what it's like. And so I would teach these younger girls, these up and coming girls, how, listen, if you just act a little dumb, if you act like you're a little gullible, and you're prone to believe everything, and you ask them very, very basic questions, and you allow them to mansplain and, teach you, in air quotes, about how stuff really works, you can gather intel. You can gather information, right? Because eventually they're going to talk. They're going to say things that they shouldn't have said. Whether that's regular office gossip, or speaking ill about somebody behind their backs, or revealing things that otherwise should have been hidden, and so on, that you can use for your benefit later. I mean, that's how the workforce works. Then do that. Because I even did that in the beginning of my career. As I later progressed, I couldn't use that card anymore, because as I gained a little bit more experience, and as I looked visibly older, then people sort of like knew that, no, you can't fuck around with this cat. But in the beginning, even I would do that. But that worked especially well for the women and for the girls. And here's the point, really. You could say that I'm snitching on the men, or snitching on the misogynists, in air quotes. I'm really not doing that at all. I'm just letting these women know how to navigate the male workspace. Because, honestly speaking, a lot of that culture really is a little bit destructive. Now, I'm not going to preach about toxic masculinity, because there is no such thing as toxic masculinity. Being masculine is not about being toxic. Displaying toxic behavior is the inverse of being masculine, just so you know. But some of that culture still has this tendency to be a little destructive for so many reasons. And I know this because I've spoken to both men and women who frequent that culture. Anyway, from a persuasion perspective, these are so many valuable lessons. And even from an intel and espionage perspective, befriend someone, be nice, stroke their ego, brush their ego, and then they'll talk, right? Even if it takes you years, but eventually they will talk. Especially and particularly if you make them believe that they're superior to you. So that's sort of like my feminist insider tip or hack, whatever. Doesn't work on me. Never worked on me because I wasn't there. I wasn't there to gossip around. I was only there to do a job and to keep my private affairs outside of work. Anyway, hopefully you'll learn lots and lots of persuasion lessons in that clip. Go to my email list. The link to this is in the episode description wherever you're watching and or listening to this to learn more, and I'll see you there.